what according to you has changed in parents' attitude? Like there was one time when 60% marks were good. Now even if you get 95%, you get rank in JEE, and parents are not happy. They want more. So what according to you is?
See, parenting में I do have something to say. I do see, in my career, I've seen many kinds of parents. Now I need to talk about my time. I'm so sorry. But yes, when I was young at our home, we used to just sit with our parents and just talk nonsense sometime. We would just tell them stupid stories from our school and friends and all that. But they had time. They would sit with us. They would listen to us, and we'll just go around. And after listening to the whole thing, sometimes my father, my mother, they'll say you did right or not. So there was a lot of conversation. These days, I don't see proper conversation between kids and parents, between grandparents and kids. There is no everybody is busy with their gadget.
So, नमस्कार, मैं हूं भावेश रोहिरा और स्मार्ट भारत लर्निंग प्रेजेंट्स संवाद में आज हमारी गेस्ट हैं राधिका मैम. So मैम, नमस्कार and welcome to the platform.
Hello and thank you to hello to the viewers too.
जी मैम, so first of all we like to have a brief introduction of yourself, then we'll go with the question.
Yeah, I'm Radhika Maheshwari and I'm a 55-year-old woman. I have been English language trainer for all my life. Like I've been working, I don't even remember when I started, but I've been working with students for English for like too long now. I worked as vice principal in Siddharth Modern Higher Secondary School in Gwalior for 23 years. Starting from 2000 to 2023, I left job, but while working there and afterwards and before that, I've always been teaching. I'm much interested into English, literature and language both, as spoken language and as literature. So I've always been interested, so I've been working on it always, forever.
As you said, you have been teaching. Even my friends who were your students, they also told me that you come and teach them English and you teach literature beautifully. So of course it's an honor meeting you.
Thank you.
My first question to you would be, as you have seen more than 2 decades of teaching, you have observed students. What according to you has changed in these 20-25 years in the attitude of students, parents, their look towards education?
There are lots and lots of changes, but that do I regret, do I don't like those changes? So it's not like that. Things will change. They have been changing forever. When I was young, when I was a student, things were different then. When I got old enough to understand, when I was in college, things were a little different then. And then things keep changing. Change is inevitable. Change is the only constant. So, yes, there are changes, but I see them negatively. No, not at all. I'm not the kind of person will go about bragging कि हमारे समय ये होता था, पुराना ये होता था, नया and all that. No, changes are going to happen. Yeah, few things still need to change. We still need to change and look at things differently. We need to work on those. And yes, the kind of education we used to get and the things that are happening in the school and the things that the young kids go through have changed. Lots of digital media, digital platforms are there. They have their own benefits and cons, as we say. So things are going to be different in every era, every decade. Every few years, things change and everybody has to cope up with that.
Okay, that was very beautiful because usually people think that their era was good and now it is
No. I'm not the kind of person. I love to be in the era I'm still breathing, living in. This is my time. I'm not the kind of person who will say, हमारा समय, यही हमारा समय है. The time that is going on.
Wow, that's a really good attitude. Yeah. Okay, so what according to you has changed in parents' attitude? Like there was one time when 60% marks were good. Now even if you get 95%, you get rank in JEE, and parents are not happy. They want more. So what according to you is?
See, parenting में I do have something to say. I do see, in my career, I've seen many kinds of parents and yes, I see many flaws in parenting because now I need to talk about my time. I'm so sorry. But yes, when I was young at our home, we used to just sit with our parents and just talk talk nonsense sometime. We would just tell them stupid stories from our school and friends and all that, but they had time. They would sit with us, they would listen to us, and we'll just go around. And after listening to the whole thing, sometimes my father, my mother, they'll say you did right or not, you must not have done that, you should have done that, and all that. But they would just sit down and listen. We knew what our father was doing, we knew what kind of job he has, what my mother's friends said, and all that. So there was a lot of conversation. These days I don't see proper conversation between kids and parents, between grandparents and kids. There is no everybody is busy with their gadget. That is what I don't like. And how parents compensate when they don't give time to their kids. They compensate by giving them gifts, giving them money to spend, giving them things they don't even need, just to keep them away, just to get them off their backs, as I would call them. Ki tang mat karo, let us do our own thing, you do your own. They'll give. I witnessed so many times, mothers, fathers even, they would just hand their phones over to the kids just ki you do your thing and let me do mine. So this is something I'm very I regret about the kids, that they don't get to spend time with their parents. They don't get to sit and listen, tell the stories, tell their own small, innocent stories to the parents, and they don't get to hear what their grandparents felt, what time they have spent, what have been around, they have felt in their lives and all that. वो एक regret है कि वो I don't see parents giving it to their kids. There was an incident, there have been many incidents in fact, when parents used to come to school for admissions, and they would come with kids 3.5, 4 years old, and the kids would be bothering, they're not letting them talk when they wanted to just ask about the school and inquire and all that. So since they have never taught the kids to listen to the parents, so 1 or 2 times they'll say ki mat karo beta, chup baith jao, and the moment they'll just feel helpless, they'll hand over the phone. So I used to tell them ki why only phone? There are scissors, knives, better things. If you are ready to give them phones, give them something that is even more harmful. You think this phone is not harmful for the kids? It's not that. You just need them off their bags. You just need them to be on their own. You don't want to spend much time soothing them down, calming them down, talking to them, making them listen to you. For that you hand them your phones, and such things happen. So please give time to your kids. They need your time. They don't need your money.
Okay, that's need of an hour.
Yeah.
That's problem with parenting.
Yeah.
But this is also fact that we cannot ignore technology. Now even the other students who are in class 6th or 7th, they are expected to learn coding, and there are parents who are sending their children to learn coding. They would go for English coaching or some computer basic coaching in 6th or 7th. Now they are going for further courses. Now parents want their children to be influencers. If they are making reels, they are proud that my daughter or my son is an influencer. Do you think how we can make balance between this? Because social media has need of an hour also. It's in trend.
See, social media is like driving. You will not give your car or your two-wheeler to somebody who does not know how to handle. It is like driving. When they're old enough, do give them a car. Do give them your two-wheeler or your four-wheeler, whatever. But you won't give it to somebody who doesn't understand the rules of the road and how to drive, how not to harm people while driving. And so is social media. You cannot give it to immatures. You should not let them do that. And they do follow your example. If you would be making reels, taking photographs all along, they'll learn that only. They'll not learn your preaching. You cannot go ahead and tell them not to use phone while you have been using it all the time. So I'm not against social media. I'm too much into gadgets. I live by gadgets. I'm the kind of woman who would not buy a jewelry or a sari, and I would rather go buy a new phone, a new gadget, whichever has come to the town. As you must also have witnessed,
yes.
So I'm not against gadgets. I'm not against social media. I'm not against internet. I'm not against anything. But you cannot give it to someone who doesn't understand it. First, you have to educate them about it, how to use them, what are the benefits, what are the pros and the cons, then only. You cannot give, it's just, I compare it to driving. You cannot let somebody who does not have a license drive on the roads.
Exactly,
That's
ma'am.
it. Yeah.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to know from you about this parenting and that I was saying a rat race that they want them to go for JEE, for NEET, or they're not satisfied. And as you said, you are much into Bhagavad Gita. I would like you to tell how can Bhagavad Gita help parents and students coping up with that stress of peer pressure.
Bhagavad Gita, I'll tell later. But this peer pressure, I don't know. Like being a parent, I have got 2 sons and I wanted them to succeed. I didn't want, like any parent for that matter, they just want their kids to have a comfortable life. They don't want their kids to go through the struggle they have gone through. So it's about telling them that since we did not pay that much attention, since our parent didn't have that much like resources, so we are giving you and you should make a better life. All parents want, they are actually not into marks. They like few of them they must be comparing marks of their own kids to somebody else's kid. वो एक अलग चीज है, वो I don't even want to go there. This kitty party conversation have never been a part of कि मेरा बेटा ये तेरा ये वो. I don't want that. I don't even want to discuss that because I don't pay attention. But other than that, all parents want for their kids is for them to have a like good and comfortable life. So all these marks, all this pressure, everything ends up to them wanting good things for you. So pressure, I don't know why this word pressure has come into the conversation so often. This people always talk about pressure, peer pressure and all that. Why is it taken negatively?
Okay.
Why is pressure taken negatively? There was a pressure on maybe Maharana Pratap to save his country, save his land. There was a pressure on Mahatma Gandhi to go and fight the Britishers, and there is a pressure on somebody to write a book on something. There's a pressure on the music directors to make good music. Pressure on singers to sing a nice song, pressure on a painter to paint a better painting, and the pressure is good. What is not good is comparison.
Okay.
Comparison is not good. You should only compete with yourself. You should only be compared to your earlier self. You should just better yourself. Pressure is not bad. Pressure is good. Pressure makes you do so many great things.
Perfect.
So parents should pressurize, I don't know, but parents should lead them, yes.
Okay, so that was a good point that you said. Parents want your bright. As you are also into poetry, there's a Hindi or Urdu poet Zakir Khan. He says very beautifully that माँ बाप आपके सपनों के खिलाफ नहीं है, वो बस आपको गरीब नहीं देखना चाहते. So you said
exactly, yeah.
Same thing, na?
Exactly my feeling. And yes, I love Zakir Khan.
Okay,
big follower.
Great.
Yeah.
So he has said it very beautifully.
Bhagavad Gita you did.
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita is not about just one thing in your life. Bhagavad Gita is not even a religious book. I don't see it as a religious book. I see it as a go-to book for every moment in your life. It teaches you something for every ups and downs in your life. It gives you such calm. I mean, Bhagavad Gita tells you how to behave, how to react, how to be in each and every situation of your life. It is so good. It is like a mystery box where every time you open, you find something new. And I've been learning from it and I've started following it. So my introduction to Bhagavad Gita came much later. It came when I started teaching. And when I was teaching English to class 8th in MP Board School. There was this supplementary reader, which is like the story of my experiment with truth by Mahatma Gandhi. Before that, Mahatma Gandhi was just another name of freedom fighter, Rashtrapita and all that to me. I didn't know much about him. So when I started reading that book, with each and every chapter, I would be marveled by the persona of him. Then when he explained in the book that wherever he is, whatever he has learned is from Bhagavad Gita, so I turned to Bhagavad Gita. If Bhagavad Gita can make a Mohandas Karamchand to Mahatma Gandhi, it must be something. So I turned to Bhagavad Gita, then I started reading it. And as I read it, it was like a missing piece of my puzzle. After that, I don't remember if I've ever felt like kind of ever depressed or sad for a very long time or anxious for anything. Like I do feel all those emotions, but those are very temporary now, very time being, because Bhagavad Gita gives you the answer to every question you have in your heart.
Okay, perfect, ma'am. Going further into Gita, we see there are sometimes contrasts. Like on one side, we see in Gita Krishna says not to desire. When he says that sukh dukh same kritva labh labho jaya jayo tado yuddha yujasya nevam pap vayapsasi.
Correct.
In which he says that don't worry about loss or profit.
Yeah.
But sometimes he says that if you are doing action with your right hand, the fruit will be in your left hand. Kratane dahene akshay. Some slok is there. So how do you look at that? Like, is there a contrast in his words?
There is no contrast as such. That way, it's very clear that when you have come to this world, your soul has been given a body. So, and you're born into a family. You have a set of parents, and then you have a family to look after, and you have a set of friends who are around you, and then people you met through the journey. So, what Bhagavad Gita says, when you have taken this body, you have come to this world, you should do everything that this world expects from you, desires from you. Expects you to do. But while you do that, keep your soul clean. While you do things with your body, try to keep your soul clean, as in when you need to do something, do it with a clear heart. You should not want something back from it. You should not desire. If you'll do anything, like the soldiers who were fighting these wars, the Kurukshetra ka Mahayuddha jo hua, the soldiers who were fighting, they would not get anything out of it. Most of them knew that they would get killed. They still fight, and both sides. So what Bhagavad Gita tells you, it tells you to just fight and just do what is needed and not attach any desire, any strings to it. And that's the way I would like to live. When you are thrown into mud, you should be like a lotus.
Oh, very beautiful.
And the world is a mud.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. So
तो कीचड़ में रहना है तो कमल बनना है.
कमल बनना है. वैसे भी आजकल दौर कमल का ज्यादा है भारत में.
उससे मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, न कमल से न किसी और से.
Okay, जी, yes. Teachers are usually non-political. Okay, so moving to our subject, English. How do you look at English? Because you have been a professor for so long and teacher of English for so long. So there are so many people asking same question, that we send students to English medium school. We pay more fee for that. You can see the Hindi medium and English medium. The fee, the books are same, content is same. But for language, they pay more to English medium schools. But even after 12th, if you ask students to speak, they are unable to speak. Like we both have been teaching college students also. Students in college who have passed 12th from English medium school or expensive schools, even they are unable to speak English fluently.
See, one question, Bhavesh. Suppose I tell you that you'll get a job in Germany and you'll get paid very well. And you've got 3 months in hand. The only thing, and you'll get paid extremely well. Like andha paisa denge wo tumhe. And you've got 3 or 4 months in hand. But learn the language. Without learning the language, you'll not be able to go and earn that kind of money. Will you learn the language in 3 months and you'll be speaking?
Yeah, of course.
That's it. All you need is motivation.
Exactly.
Everybody needs in motivation. But even if you'll speak very well, very good German, suppose you have started speaking, will you talk to me in German?
If you know German, then I would.
But still, we both know that both of us know German. But if we get to talk, will you talk to me in German then?
I would
Suppose
prefer
I know
my mother
German.
tongue. I will have to
Exactly my point. So what I'm trying to say here, that English is taught as a subject.
Exactly.
Subject and language are two different things. When we teach it as a subject, it will be as boring as we think history is.
Exactly.
Unless you make it a life skill. We don't teach English as a life skill. We teach it as another subject. Like we have been teaching Sanskrit. English ka to chalo, we can speak 1 or 2 sentences. We can't speak a word of Sanskrit if not needed. Only for the question papers we study. Sanskrit ka Vyakaran for so long. How many of you can speak Sanskrit? None.
No one.
So same with English. So whatever English they are speaking, that is for again the pressure of the teachers and parents, and everything that has been forced will never work on anyone. Don't force them. Teach them to speak like a second language only. Don't try to make it their mother tongue. One. Second, that if you want people to speak in English, teach them as a language, not as a subject, just as a language, as a life skill. That's another thing. Like if you want to teach somebody driving, again, let's go to driving. Driving is my favorite topic since I can't drive. So, if you want to teach somebody driving, if you'll make them sit in a room like this, or a classroom, say classroom of 50 या 40 students, and if you'll teach them कि ठीक है ये एक ऐसी गाड़ी होती है, it has 4 wheels, it has a steering, and then there is a brake, there
Yeah.
is an accelerator, there is a clutch, and all that, and gear, and all that, everything. Now I have told you everything. Give an exam and they'll clear.
Theory.
सब आता है, कहाँ clutch है, what kind of speed is achieved with second gear, third gear. Every theory you'll teach, but you have not given them a car to drive yet.
Okay.
And they know every theory about the car, but can they drive?
They can't.
They can't. So that is about English. They
Okay.
will never speak unless you make them go down, sit on the seat and drive. You have to tell them the situation and then make them speak. You can't ask them to just speak because you have taught them from books. It cannot happen.
Perfect. So, as we were talking about arousing interest and motivation, we can see a very beautiful bookshelf behind us, and in your every room you have bookshelf. As you said, you have Kindle
Yeah.
with you as extension. Do you think books can be a major motivation for students to jump into a new language, be it English or any other language?
Yeah, so I'll tell you my story, how
Hmm.
I got interested. Like I was another student, kind of like a little above average, but just that, not very brilliant or something. So I was a student, then I joined college and I took commerce because I come from a Bania family. I was not good at like PCM maths. So I took commerce, humanities or arts as we called it then, was not in my minds because the arts तो तभी लेंगे जब आप किसी काबिल नहीं होंगे, sort of feeling
Yeah.
was there at that time. So I took commerce and English was just a subject for us, like another subject which commerce students had to take. So I took English. But by mistake, I could not since understand ki which class I had to attend. There was a class of English, higher English or some name they must have given it. English for humanities arts student, that class was going on. And by mistake, I attended that class and I was sitting on the first bench. And there was a teacher and she taught Robert Browning's The Last Ride Together.
Oh.
Have you read the poem?
Yeah. That has been part of class 12th in English medium
Yeah,
syllabus.
it was in college and she was teaching this poem and she had beautiful accent and she taught us the poem.
It's beautiful poem.
And I was sitting on the first bench and I was looking at her awestruck because I've never seen anyone speak that well. I've never heard anybody recite a poem like she did. And I fell in love with her. I fell in love with the language. And that was a love at first sight forever. So I started loving the language so much that I fought with my dean. I told him that even if I take commerce, I want to clear this exam of English, which is meant for arts people only, that is higher English. And he said it's on your own risk because you'll not be getting any classes, but I want to attend. I told that I want to attend this class of this teacher only. That's all I want. Whenever she'll teach, I'll attend. So I got that, then I cleared that. And that love, I've forgotten everything about accounts now. Whatever I must have learned, but she has given me this gift of English. And I fell in love with the language. And then so much so that I started reading every piece of paper that was around and which was written in English. It just had to be in English. I've read everything. I've read from trash magazines to Archie's comics to Mills and Boons to Enid Blyton's to Agatha Christie's to everything.
Perfect.
I've just read everything. I used to hog books. Like people would eat like their lunch and dinner. I would hog books.
Oh,
I would
beautiful.
thrive on books.
Yes, there's a famous lyricist Manoj Muntashir who has written Teri Mitti
Yeah,
Mein
of
Jama.
course.
He says very beautifully, if you want to become a good writer, no literature is waste for you. Even if you are taking samosa and there is
a
poem,
sheet of paper. Yes,
exactly. From that to sophisticated novels and all
anything.
that,
Yeah,
anything can work.
So I was that kitabi kida who would just read anything, and I've read lots of Hindi literature too.
Okay.
Lots and lots of it. And since I can't read Urdu script and I'm too much into shairi, so I have got every divan that is written in Hindi.
Oh.
Everybody's, like from Diwan-e Ghalib to Mir Taqi Mir to Faiz Ahmed. I've read everything. I've read every poet,
Perfect.
every shair.
Into 3 languages.
Yes, into all 3 languages.
Perfect. As J.K. Rowling has also said, that if you find reading boring, you have not found the right book.
The pleasure,
The pleasure.
the right book, yes.
So, according to you, who is your favorite writer in English?
In English, see, I've read, like, my go-to book is Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead.
Okay.
That's my go-to book that I read time and again. That has a philosophy that is unmatched in the world. That struck the right chord at the very right time with me. But I've read them all, and there are things in different books and which I love. I love reading Rabindranath Tagore's things in English, like whatever
Oh.
he has written, especially Gitanjali. I read in English and I found it so good. And I've read so many. There, I can't like choose one, but yes, one book that I would recommend everybody is like The Fountainhead of Ayn Rand.
Fountainhead. I asked the question because there can be so many viewers who have been your students since for more than 40
Forever,
years.
yeah.
Yeah, there may be. And if they feel motivated, they want to get into literature, from where they should start? They can be from BBA, MBA, engineering.
See, it's again finding the right book.
Yeah,
J.K.
finding the
Rowling's.
right
So you go about, like, read a few, leave in between if you don't want to continue. Pick another one. Just keep on. You'll get your right one, and you'll get your genre. You have to go there. You have to be the person. You have to find it yourself. Like I'm the kind of, I don't have a particular genre. I read romance, then I read philosophy, then I read murder mysteries. I read everything. So for me, every written word is worth reading. I read biographies and autobiographies and so many things. I read. Only thing I don't read is motivating books.
Self-help.
And I don't want motivation. I'm like, मेरे पास अपना ही ज्ञान बहुत है, मैं बांट दूंगी. मुझे और लेना नहीं है.
There are many people.
हाँ, तो मुझे, I don't read much motivating books except for a very few. Otherwise, I read everything that has been written.
Okay, so you are into non-fiction?
Yeah, a lot. Not
Like-
non-fiction. I read biographies.
Okay,
Biographies I read. Autobiographies also I read.
Okay, Wings of Fire and all. As you
Many.
s-
I've read many. So every book gives you something.
Perfect.
They're like so good.
Learning from their lives.
Yeah.
Okay, and how do you see career opportunities in literature, since we are living in 21st century and there are so many people running after traditional career options, which are that engineering, medicine, and certain fixed. But now we see a rise in new career options. It can be digital marketing, it can be skills. Do you think in literature also there are rising opportunities as career options?
See, I haven't thought in that line. I'm actually never, whenever I teach, I don't want, I mean, since I follow Bhagavad Gita, I don't want to read and think about the results. I don't want to teach and kids to think about the results.
Okay.
कि इससे क्या मिलेगा वो अभी नहीं सोचना है. Just read and just be there for the sake of it. Literature is like drinking your morning tea.
Oh.
You just want to sit there, or your cup of coffee, na? For me, it's cup of coffee. So you just want to sit there, enjoy. You don't want it to be good to your gut and this and that, and so you just want to have it and enjoy. The pleasure it gives you is unmatched. A good book, a good read in your hand, and there is a dot that is going to connect anyways. Whatever you learn in life, even if you learn like to needle a thread, like Hannah, you that'll come in hand sometime. Sometimes that'll come handy. That everything connects.
Yeah.
Whatever you have been through in your life, whatever you learn, it does go somewhere. It takes you somewhere. वो 100% है. But to learn to needle a thread because someday काम आएगा, that's not my way of living. I just do things for the sake of it. I teach things for kids to just learn and savor, and especially literature and like poetry. Just read them for the pleasure of it.
For the pleasure of it. In literature, there's a term also, no? For the sake of it only.
Yes, for the sake of it.
Okay.
Just enjoy. It will definitely teach you something. At the end of it, you'll come out winner.
Perfect, ma'am. Okay, so my next question is about teaching profession. As there are so many people who would say that जो कुछ नहीं कर पाते वो teacher बन जाते हैं, which is somehow a fact if you see the market of teaching. Like there are so many teachers, especially in competitive coachings, SSC, UPSC and all. You find teachers who will say, I have cracked pre and mains, but I
Yes,
could
yes.
not crack interview. That's why I am
Yes.
your UPSC teacher.
Yes.
Somehow it is in JEE also, but in JEE it is like, I have been an engineer. I did not like engineering. I like teaching, so I am following my passion. And in coaching industry also. Do you think it is a fact?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You're a teacher.
Yeah.
Given a chance, you would like to be something else?
Nah, I have so many options, but I do not choose.
Double the money?
No.
Triple the money?
Tough.
सोच के बता.
A bit tough.
हाँ यार, a bit tough, but then any day. So
Yeah.
ये इतनी population हमारे देश की, इतना competition, तो with such kind of competition, if you're looking for is money, then teaching is not the thing for you.
Okay.
You'll get paid much later in your life. And ये JEE or whatever you have said, coaching, so I don't even want to talk about that. Right now, I don't feel like talking about that. For me, teachers are the one who teaches in school
Okay.
and in colleges. अभी ये mentors, coaching and teaching are two different things. I don't mingle these two. I don't want to mix these two. Teaching is a very noble profession, so you have to be really noble at heart and sacrificial. If you don't need much for yourself, like Singham ने कहा ना, मेरी ज़रूरतें कम है इसलिए हाँ. तो अगर आपकी ज़रूरतें कम है तो become a teacher.
Okay.
Otherwise no.
So don't you think it's like milking profession?
I don't see it like that, and I don't even want to go there.
Okay.
I don't even want to be one of those, and I don't want to even talk about that. I don't call that teaching.
Okay, so according to you, it's not.
That is coaching. That is not teaching.
Okay.
Teaching is a very noble thing. The things that we generally do in like classes where there are 70 about students who they don't know what they have to do there for their lives. And when you concentrate on only 5 to 10 of them and you just let other be.
Because they have paid.
Because of like so many things. So that is, and it's good for them. Whoever is doing, I'm happy for them, but I don't want to go there. I don't want to be that. That's not teaching.
That's not teaching.
As much as I'm concerned.
Okay, so what would you say about the rising? Of course, we will not take the name, but there are several edtech platforms who have the valuation of more than 9,000 crores. They have become inspiration for children and teachers.
They are doing good business. They are good businessmen, and I appreciate that. As a businessman, they are good. They have cracked. Every time you come up with an idea, like Abhi, if you want a startup, you said you were looking for a startup and you already have one. And if you crack it, if you earn a lot, I'll be happy for you.
Okay.
But that's a business.
That's not teaching according to you? No, I have a point. Like, suppose there's an offline coaching or offline coaching charges 2 lakh rupee for a course, and that edtech company or any edtech company is providing the same course in thousands, like 5,000, 10,000, and students who could not afford 2 lakh are getting the same education.
See, education you don't get like that. Teacher is somebody who can look at your face, look into your eye, and know what you have, whether you have eaten your breakfast or not.
No.
How you feel today. Have you not slept, properly in the night? Teacher is somebody who will do that. And it is very difficult. Even for school teachers, it is very difficult because they are also given 50 students. They are given there are 365 days in a year.
Yeah.
They get to teach only for 200 days. In those 200 days, for 100 days, they have to do various activities.
Exactly.
And all this shosha they have to do and take pictures and send to the parents and all that. So there's no time to teach. There is a period of maybe half an hour or so.
Yeah.
And there are 40 students. They don't even get 1 minute for one student on an average. So that is a game. But yes, the right people meet the right kind of students will meet the right kind of teachers, and they'll be taught, things will be done. Still, I've seen very good people who are just happy being around children, teaching them. I've been with those people all my life, and I know there are people like that. Then I've seen the other types too.
Okay.
And digital platform, I love because every time I want to learn something, I go to YouTube. So I'm nobody to condemn that. But is that somebody cooking on the YouTube and me learning? That's not teaching.
Okay.
That is just a help that if I get stuck somewhere, I can go to this platform and learn and get ahead.
Okay, beautiful. So we should move to the last question. Any last question do you want to add, or
No, I just want people to think of learning apart from education. As in, there is this experiment that I did. There was a George Bernard Shaw's biography, a part of it in the school curriculum. And there were a few parts that were given in the bracket, and there was written that this will not be asked in questions.
hmm.
So that was in the bracket, and the whole chapter was beautiful. And George Bernard Shaw, whatever he has written has been like great, and it was his autobiography. He wrote it himself, and he is a master of words, like
Exactly.
a magic he creates with words. So I told the children that this chapter you have to read, and just read. When next day they came, and I asked them, "Did you read what was between the
No one.
brackets?" Nobody did. Nobody did. But because there is no point reading something that will not be asked in exams. This is not education.
Okay.
This is not learning. Whenever you teach student कि ये पढ़ लो इससे एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, you fail them. You fail them every time you tell them कि you must read this because this will be asked in the exam. Exams are not about like teaching is not about exams. Teaching is about learning, making them learn. You have to make them learn. Exams are very temporary. Exams
Okay.
will not stay with them. The education will for their lives.
Exactly. That same thing happened during COVID as well. You can see there were 30 students who were studying in a class, suppose, and the government announces there can be general promotion. They were even not sure, but when they say there can be general promotion, nobody will join the class because now there's no exam, so there's no need of study.
And if I would like to change, there is one change if I could make in the whole education system. I'll remove all the questions from the end of the chapter.
Oh.
The books that are being published, they are questions. There should not be questions. Questions should come from the minds of students.
Okay.
They should be taught the chapters and they should be told to ask the questions.
Okay. They'll think of the questions and answer them.
And answers the teachers.
Perfect.
Teachers will answer the queries. I mean, you should not serve them questions. Questions should come from their minds.
Okay. That's a spoon feeding kind of. No?
You serve them questions, you serve them answers.
Answers even, yeah.
They need to mug it up. That's not teaching. That one thing I would like to, if I can ever, which does not seem very likely.
No, it can happen.
Yes, I'd like to change that.
Perfect. Okay. So as a last question, I can ask for some suggestions to develop English or being a good student.
Yeah. So start thinking in English, and there is one exercise I tell everybody to do. That is read for 5 minutes or 2 minutes every day. Read something aloud. Read aloud and then record it on your phone and then listen to it again.
Yes, ma'am. So it has been a great podcast, and now it's time for the last question. Okay. So at the end of the session or a podcast, I would like you to advise the students how can they develop their English for spoken or for any purpose.
So develop any language for that matter, not only just English. You will have to start thinking in that language. And for thinking, there is one exercise that I suggest everyone, which is to listen to English in your own voice. And how to do that? So pick a book, pick any like text, and read for about 2-3 minutes to 5 minutes aloud and record it. Record it and then listen to it. While you listen to it, you start thinking of it as your own language, since you're listening it in your own voice. And that is a very big thing for you, that most of the time whenever you speak English, even in your mind, it is somebody else's voice and not your own. Most of the time it is Amitabh Bachchan's voice going on. Yeah, right. So when you start listening to this language in your own voice, you start thinking of it as your own language, and then you start thinking in English. And one more thing, if you read a story, think of yourself to be one of the characters.
Perfect.
Then whenever you think about it, you'll think like the character and you'll think in English. Once you start thinking in English, it becomes your own language.
Okay, so thinking in English.
Yeah. Speaking in English and then recording and then listening to it. that makes you think in the right language. Anyway,
Perfect. Okay, so I hope you find this session useful. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for being there.
I
Thanks.
enjoyed it.